Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to the Fanatic Forum. I am your Fanatic and host, George Bueller. Oh, hope you guys have had a wonderful week out there. I know it's been a crazy one. We're getting closer to Christmas and all that stuff. It's been busy for a lot of people, but it's so good to be on a Friday here. Good to see everybody. And of course, I can't do this show without my brother from another mother, my Sundance to my other dude, my Rosencrantz to my Guildenstern. Let's do it that way. I like that better here. So, Seth Manhammer, how are you, brother?
Oh, I'm doing great. I was always a fan of that Community gag wherever it was. I think it was Rob Corddry came and I was talking to Joe McHale, and yeah, they were Tango and Sundance because they actually had different partners.
Yeah. I like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern a little bit better. You know, we're the last ones left alive in Denmark.
Yeah, no, I like that idea. No, but I'm doing pretty good. It's been a fun day for me. I went to work and I'm trying to be a good boy because I got gifted a copy of Helldivers 2 yesterday. And I have not gotten to play that. So after the show, after I've done all my responsible things, then I can play video games all night. And you see what this Helldivers 2 thing is all about. So
nice.
Yeah.
I've been jumping back and forth between WWE 2K24 and then the Quarry, and I'm probably I feel like I'm getting close to the end on the Quarry, but that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, that one's like one of those Until Dawn games, right? Or like
where it's kind of like almost like you're playing a movie sort of thing like that. So yeah, but very, very cool. Lots of fun on that. Really on both those though. So and there's a lot of people in the Quarry, like David Arquette, Ted Raimi, Lynn Shay from the Insidious movies, Lance Henriksen, Ethan Suplee.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's Justice Smith, the kid that was in. He was just in something I liked. I can't remember what it was. But anyway, he's not really into Will Smith in any way. But yeah, he's a good actor. He plays one of the lead kids. So yeah, Ariel Winter from Modern Family. She's in the show. So like I said, tons and tons of people in this game.
Yeah.
So one quick plug before we get to our guest and our main topic of the evening here. But of course, as you guys know, if you guys follow Fanatic Forum and have for a bit of a time, we do every January the Multiverse Fundraiser, which basically is a weekend-long virtual con where basically you have panels, we have guests and such like that. Each show is represented. We do lots of fun things. We try to get some special people on here. And of course, this year, for the second year in a row, we are sponsoring comic books for kids. So all the money we raise, 100% of it goes to our friends at Comic Books for Kids, a fine charity here. But I've talked to Seth about this here, but we have a special guest cooked up for the Multiverse Fundraiser, and I'm excited about this one here. This is going to be for our wrestling fans here. A friend of the Fanatic Forum. We've had him on here multiple times. My friend and one of the finest wrestling historians in the United States, John Cosper, will be on the show. He's got a couple new books out from the finer days of wrestling here, so we'll definitely be talking to him. But one of his books is a biography on the voice of Ohio Valley Wrestling and probably one of the favorite ring announcers in the Memphis territory towards the end of the days. I'm talking about the legendary Dean Hill is going to be on the show.
Hometown hero.
Oh, I'm so jazzed about this one here.
You have been a big Dean Hill fan for quite some time. I know it's like you've interacted with the man. You've spent some time with him. Yeah, it's
yes, sir. Yeah. One of the things I love about wrestling is kind of like the inside, the behind the scenes sort of thing like that, and I love getting to know some of like the commentators and the ring announcers and stuff like that. Some of those personalities, because those guys see everything.
Right.
They're observers to all this stuff. So they see the history. They see it happen live. So Dean is connected and knows everybody. Yeah. He's crossed a lot of paths with a lot of famous people, past and present. So he's got a lot of stories to tell. One of the finest voices in broadcast anything.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm jazzed. I can't wait. But we have a special guest tonight here, and I can't wait to bring her on because I discovered this lovely lady on Seth's podcast sorry, Seth's podcast. That's Smokes and Road Beers, 6:30 Eastern on Thursday nights. Facebook and Rumble. But anyway, I love her point of views. I love the way, her whole interaction and everything. So I had to get her on here, and we're going to talk movies and geek out here. But our friend Desiree, welcome.
Hi. How are you guys?
What's up, Des?
Well, how are you?
I am exhausted, but alive. So that's good.
Well, thank you for hanging out with us tonight, too, by the way.
Dude, thanks for
after
having
being
me. I'm
exhausted.
stoked.
Yeah, we've been trying to get you on here for a while. We've been talking about it a couple of times, and not for the topic that we originally talked about. With and excuse me, as my dog licks himself behind us here.
It's adorable. Just let it happen.
He's giving some self love there,
Right? Yeah, he's gonna get he's starting his only dogs page.
No, people would buy into that.
Oh yeah, they would. I don't want to. He's my fur baby. I don't want to make it weird like that. Yeah,
you already did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it's too late. Yeah, so. Our topic du jour, because of course Seth and I've been trying to get this one going for a little bit here. I just found the right moment to do it here. But we are big devotees of the great Joe Bob Briggs, and purveyor of The Last Drive-In, and he loves doing his movie marathons with themes or whatever else. So Seth came up with this idea and said, "Hey, let's do something like that." I was like, "That's I'm in. Let's do it."
Now, little did I know that George was going to schedule our Joe Bob Briggs marathon episode on the night that Joe Bob Briggs is having his Friday the 13th special.
Damn! I had no idea. Oh, it is Friday the 13th.
Yes, it is. It very much is.
Okay. Well, see, this is me selling comic books all day. I had no idea what the friggin' date was. I know it's Friday, but
yeah.
Okay, well, there we go. So, so our topic to do this movie marathon here, and we're not actually going to be showing the movies here. This is just if we were planning a movie marathon, these are the movies that we would show, and then we'll explain why or what our themes were, all that sort of thing. So our topic is a salute to the troops. And what better way to do that? Because Desiree, you are a retired Marine veteran, so thank you very much for your sacrifice and your service.
Not retired, just former.
Oh, you just okay? Here's just
yeah.
Okay.
So I did my term, and then I got out, went to school, and found out that I hate traditional school. But I didn't my 20.
Nice.
Well, thank you very much, nonetheless.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, we got a couple of comments already. Our boy V coming
What's
in.
Up, V?
Saying good evening. Good evening to you, good sir, here. And then, he says that Seth has no idea what's waiting for him. I don't know what that means.
I'm concerned.
And then also V says, welcome to Desiree, and thank you, V. V, I'd say V is one of my new friends here that we met on basically selling him comics. And so we connected here on the podcast. So, a great fella here. So, one of my
V's hung out with us a couple of weeks now too. Yeah.
Yes, he has. He's one of my favorite new friends now. And Bradley's in here saying he's currently playing Indiana Jones: The Great Circle.
Oh, that game is so good. I probably played an hour of it lately. Like I want to get back into that game more, but it is. Yeah, it's hella good. Bradley's on point with that. Like it feels like an Indiana Jones adventure.
It looks really cool, and I'm excited to eventually get around to it when I have to move to a better system because I'm just still rocking an Xbox One. So,
it's not not back that far yet. But
I'm just basic.
Santa just picked up an X for the tiny demons that run around my house.
Lovely. V was referring to that you have no idea what's waiting for you with Helldivers.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing, especially with there was a big content drop that happened yesterday too during the Game Awards. Oh. And so it was like everybody was just like, apparently viewership for the Game Awards dropped right after they started or they announced the new Helldivers content because people went to start playing it and started crashing all over the place again.
Oh my God.
When it first started, yeah.
Yeah, V's a big gamer, so he would definitely know. Because I've never heard of the Helldivers series, but that sounds really cool though. And Bradley also has to remind us that It is happy Friday the 13th and a Merry Early Christmas to you.
And
Sarah.
mad props to you,
What a-
Bradley, for getting it right with the ki ma ma ma, because
Yes.
the way it was
A
supposed
lot
to
of
be
people
kill
put like
kill.
shh 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 shh
Yeah,
in
exactly.
memes.
But
It's not shh.
no, it's supposed to
No.
be kill mom, like Jason's
Mhm.
Yeah.
telling his mother to kill. Yeah, that's
Yep.
Yep.
yeah.
A lot
A
of
lot of
people
people
miss
don't
that.
realize it. Yeah.
Young Bradley is a great purveyor of horror movies, so it does not surprise me that he would get that correct as well. So, all right. Well, as we traditionally start off with the Fanatic Forum, Desiree, we talk comic reviews here. So,
Okay.
of course, Seth is always welcome to bring on comics, but he doesn't bring on comics on there. That's okay.
Yeah, usually what happens is George shows what he's got, and I'm like, oh, grab me one of them,
Yeah, that's usually what happens. So this is the grab me one of them segment here of the Fanatic Forum here.
I'm
But
also far too eclectic during the week too. I don't have a thing that I do every week to be like, hey, check this out, or whatever. So I just
That's a
kind of
good
ride
point.
along with it. Yeah.
You got it, brother. Well, of course, I do have some Conan stuff for you that I'm be bringing on Saturday.
And I'm excited to see what we got there.
Yes. But first up from Marvel, a new series, Alien Paradiso. This is, I love Marvel's run with alien stuff. They're just getting it right. You put normal people in situations with the xenomorphs, and it's basically, it's assholes and elbows. There's people running away, getting eaten, and it's, displayed in various ways.
I like
This
it.
is an interesting series because you also get to see from the aliens' point of view for the first time.
Oh.
So you kind of get to see what they see. But the plot of this one is that Paradiso is a giant resort of like 5 islands on some kind of resort planet, whatever else. So it's perfect getaway, gambling, all kinds of debauchery, whatever you want to do there. And a group of criminals decide that they're going to meet with this big cartel and do a big deal with them. And they figure, it's neutral ground because there's no weapons allowed on there. So they're not going to bring any guns. We'll sneak some on, but they're not going to bring any guns. Well, apparently the cartel must have had a early meeting with the Weyland-Yutani Corporation because they came bearing gifts. And so now... Yeah, so now you got 4 of these fully grown xenomorphs now running around this island paradise that with a bunch of random people with not a lot of weapons. Nice. Enjoy. This is gonna be fun.
I'm just imagining now, like the aliens wandering around in Hawaiian shirts and like just like on a cruise ship is what I'm imagining. They're just vacationing like normal on the Lido deck.
I had Hawaiian shirts in mine too, but it was more or less all of the vacationers running around in pure chaos and heads getting bitten off.
Yeah.
There's a really cool scene where you see a guy who's basically like watching a bunch of people getting slaughtered. He's just kind of like backing away slowly. He keeps backing towards the ocean. And of course, if you know anything about the ocean, the old myths, anything like that, you always know you never, ever turn your back to the ocean because we're mostly worried about rogue waves or whatever else. Well, of course, if an alien is underwater and waiting for you to just come closer, then it's going to just pop out of the water.
Yeah.
It seems like common sense because they swim and also they're kind of like alligator-esque. Like,
they're kind of indestructible. Yeah.
I mean, that too.
Yeah.
Indestruction is.
Well, it's just the way that they're
have.
built though, like especially with the tail to get like the swim drag and all
the
that.
Tail, the elongated head, like it's just very
the perfect
prehistoric
organism.
predator. Like it's gonna mess you up.
Yeah. It is. And of course, V has to tease with me normally picking up the entire stack of comic books at once. And I'm now not doing that. So I'm picking them up one by one.
You did have the whole stack in your hand when you first started.
I did, and then I set it down. Because to show reference that here's a few comic books, we're going to set it. Look, I'm going to do this my way. You're just going to shut.
Here's a short box. We're only going to go through like one or maybe all of them. Not a big deal.
Right.
These guys, I tell you what. Our selection from DC this week here as a miniseries, Batman Dark Patterns. The main reason I picked this one up is because it's a really interesting one because it's playing early in Batman's career. He's dealing with 4 simultaneous mysteries that somehow are connected. But the fun thing about this is if you're a big fan of Batman The Long Halloween and the series of the sequels that have followed it, Hayden Sherman must have been a student of Tim Sale's in some way, shape, or form, because he has styled his artwork very similar to Tim Sale. So this feels like kind of a pseudo sequel, or at least within the world of the Long Halloween. So it's supposed to be a 6-issue miniseries, and yeah, I'm here for it. Because initially I wasn't too sure about it. Because I was like, well, I'm a Batman fan. I'll check out the miniseries. But then as soon as I opened up and saw the artwork inside, I'm like, oh, I know what they're doing. So
I can understand your apprehension about picking the series up too, because Batman doesn't get very many series at all. So like whenever they do come out, it's kind of like, it's kind of wondering if you should pick. I'm being sarcastic as hell, because Batman has V. Do me a favor, V. Keep track on this show of how many weeks there's a Batman book in this, because I believe the past 3 weeks we've had a new Batman #1 of some kind.
Yes. There's a
when
lot
I
of
first
Batman
got into comic books, I told my friend, "Hey, I really want to know about Batman, but like, where does it start?" And he goes, "Well, which origin story do you want?" I was like, "I don't know, the original." He's like, "Well, there's like 50 originals." I was like, "No, like the first one." So he takes me over, and there's like a whole section in
Yep,
this store
every week.
devoted to Batman. And I should, can I say shit?
You can say shit, yeah.
Okay, I shit you not. There were at least 4 tables bigger than my office filled with Batman, and I had no idea where to start. And I just like, all right, well, I guess I'm just diving in head first. And to this day, I still can't figure out how many there are as far as origin stories go, because there's so many different lines.
Well, I
See,
mean,
sorry.
Oh, so go ahead. Go ahead. Seth.
Well,
Yeah, please.
I was going to say, and see, this is what actually kind of pisses me off a little bit about Batman, is because somebody will see, whatever version of Batman is the hot one in the movies, right?
Mhm.
And that becomes, it's the most comic book accurate version of Batman we've seen yet. Never mind, every other version and every other movie was the most comic book accurate version of Batman we've ever met. Then everybody's like, oh, Batman never does X, Y, or Z, because that's a core to Batman never kills. Bullshit. Batman kills all the time.
Sure.
Which version of Batman? There's. I hate this idea that there's just this one iteration of Batman that is canon, that is like all the rules. It's because it's not. There's like a million different Batman and a million different variations, a million different setup rules of him. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy me some Batman, a good Batman story from time to time, but yeah.
Yeah, you don't really. I mean, basically, the thing to know about Bruce is his parents were murdered in front of him, and they were wealthy, so they gave him some money, and basically that shit has been hanging over him his entire life.
Yeah,
and it's fuel is basically that rage, that vengeance has fueled him his entire life, and he is a nonstop menace when it comes to crime. But sometimes he's also a menace to himself, and also possibly a menace to his coworkers and his family.
He's like the poster child for this person needs therapy, and nobody ever considers it.
Well, unless you go back to the 70s, and then that version of the Batman was peachy keen, hunky dory. He didn't give a crap about nothing. He's wearing rainbow suits and running around punching the giggly Riddler.
I would give my left foot up to have a pink Batman action figure.
You might be able to find like a Funko Pop that's like one of the breast cancer ones. I'm
actually thinking of that old episode of the 60s
the old
Batman.
one where he had the 60s Batman where he's wearing the pink suit.
That's exactly
one action figure in person, and it was at this weird Halloween event that I went to, and his hand was busted. Like he's like this in his box, but his hand is over here floating next to his head. And I've not been able to find one for a price that I'm willing to pay.
I wonder, because recently
there's the Funko I'm seeing right now.
No, I can't get down with Funkos.
Very slow. Hang on. See, I thought there was a new McFarlane.
Is there a new McFarlane?
Yes. I'm pulling up a listing for Target right now for $20. So he's not in the full pink suit. Mm-hmm. He's basically in the. You can see this here. Yeah, he's in the old school 66 suit with the pink cowl.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a new McFarlane there, and so $20 there. Oh, cool! It's like on a retro card too. Here, pull that image up there. Yeah, see, it looks like on a retro card there. So
yeah, I'm seeing a lot of those.
See, I found this just now, and like that would be amazing.
That's like a Batman the Animated Series pink one. That's cool.
I would not be surprised if that figure actually existed, because those figures were like, you had like Night Strike Batman, where it was like him in like this big plastic contraption, but he was all in neon. Like,
Yes.
Yeah, I remember
like
that.
what
The
what is
90s
Night
animated
Strike
series
about
was
this?
so good.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was.
All the
Those
90s
toys were
animated series
ridiculous.
were legit.
Oh, and V says there was a rainbow Batman figure.
No,
Yeah, I
it
know
had to
there
be
was
the
the
pink
rain.
one.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
there was the N-Sabanur, or not N-Sabanur, but whatever the weird Grant Morrison.
Zurinar.
Zurinar,
I have
yeah.
a picture of it somewhere in my phone, but I have to go back to October sometime, and that's going to take me forever. So maybe after the show, I'll find it.
Yeah, so yeah, V says there's a rainbow Batman 6-pack, and one of them is Batman in a pink suit. So there you go. See, I told you we get off on weird tangents here, so that's why sometimes our show runs like an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's okay though, because it's fun stuff that we're talking about, and
Exactly.
no one else in my house wants to talk to me about this.
So see, there you go. So you're in good company here. And speaking of fun stuff here, got to dip into a little bit of some Energon universe here. Transformers issue number 15 from Image Comics. And of course, and I tell you what, this current run of Transformers, at least the current storyline that's going on right now, I like to call this the Starscream Appreciation Run. Because there is an outstanding character development with Starscream that we've not seen in the old 80s cartoon. There's some of those elements we do, but there's a little more. So they're just really fleshing him out, giving him a backstory that we've never seen before. But there's a bit of a difference in Starscream physically. I don't want to get into it to spoil anything, but he looks a little different because he's had some he's had some difficulties in combat recently. He sort of lost his legs.
I was going to say he got his ass kicked.
Yeah, he did get his ass kicked. He sort of lost his legs, so he's basically been fused to a Cobra Hiss tank. So if you can imagine a Cobra Hiss tank with no gun turret, but then the Starscream from the torso up attached to the top of it.
Yeah, which is ridiculously awesome to me. I love it. Yeah,
I don't know what to say about that.
That is correct. It is ridiculously awesome.
Yeah, this Transformers run does just to give it. Yeah, it goes with G.I. Joe and like this other series called Void Rivals too. But it's like, imagine like you being a kid with like all these action figures and making like the most epic story that you could possibly think of out of it. That really is the Energon universe right now. Like Cobra Commander had
with a little bit of Sid from Toy Story mixed in.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Actually, yeah, because Optimus Prime's running around with Megatron's gun arm.
Yes.
Yeah,
and we haven't necessarily found out why he's got the gun. We know what happened to Megatron and why he doesn't have the gun, but how did Optimus get it? We still have not found that out yet.
I'm interested.
Yeah, because it follows pretty much with Transformers. It follows a very similar pattern we see in the 80s, where you've got the Autobots have crash landed to Earth or in the Ark ship. Sort of thing like that. There also is a regiment of Decepticons that are also on Earth. They all get revived and basically start fighting with each other as they normally do. But literally in the first issue, it pulls no punches, and a beloved Autobot is killed permanently in the first issue.
Permanently.
Yes, and there have
his
been
name rhymes with Dumblebee.
Oh no! That was probably for the best, though.
But see. In the good thing for that is because Bumblebee basically had a twin in the 80s, which was Cliff Jumper. Exact same car, just red, and Cliff Jumper never got the time of day. But now in this series, Cliff Jumper is our Bumblebee. So, yeah. But there's a lot, like Soundwave has gotten an upgrade. Shockwave, who's kind of like the other, like the spacey looking gun that had like the weird eye face, has basically turned into the Joseph Mengele of the Decepticons.
Yeah, he's creepy as hell.
Sinister, devious, torturing people. I mean, wow.
Oh, and while all this is going on, so it's like the Decepticons are running around tearing stuff up, right? So while this is going on, like the United States military's kind of got wind of it, and like one of Duke's buddies from G.I. Joe gets killed. So Duke goes on this crazy mission where he's getting PTSD because his government doesn't believe him that these giant robots are trying to destroy everything. So that's how G.I. Joe comes into this. So it's like, it's brilliantly put together so far.
Yeah.
And
I'm
And
gonna
that's
have to
not
check
that,
this
and that's
out.
not even talking about the
Oh.
shit that's going on in outer space at the same
Yeah.
time that
No.
ties into everything.
See, I
Yeah.
had to stop buying comic books because it was becoming a problem. I mean, you guys know how easy it is to just buy
Mhm.
everything in sight.
Sure.
But, I have to work, I have to take care of kids, like, life, adult stuff. And
Yeah.
I can't sit here in my cave and do nothing but read comics and play video games. It's a very sad reality for me.
Well, see that you could just like Seth does, just live vicariously through me because basically all I do is just spend my money on comics anyway. So there you go.
I live vicariously through both of you.
Yeah, so there you go.
That collection back there?
Yeah, oh yeah, my G.I. Joe classifieds back here. So I love
That
the
is a pretty sweet
classifieds.
collection. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the classifieds. Well, I need to do like a video one day just to show off all my toys on here because I got
You
there's
really
a lot.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more that you guys can't see on camera here that I have, but of course one of my absolute prizes there, my Doctor Doom statue.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is a good idea. We need to do one episode where it's just like a collection highlight of like what our collections are.
oh yeah,
I have
because
a
of course
Turbo
you
Man above me that you can't see that I absolutely love.
have a Turbo Man.
I have a Turbo
Awesome.
Man.
Yes, because
I might
Jingle
be
All the
able to-
Way. Jingle All the Way is the greatest Christmas film of all time.
It's so good.
Yeah, I've already done my one viewing at least this year for the Christmas season so far. So
Nice.
yeah, so
I mean, if it was once a week, I wouldn't be mad at you.
yeah, it's
Oh, you
Yeah.
can only see his feet
Oh
See,
no.
right there.
Oh, there he is. Let's see him. Yeah. Even though Jake Lloyd is in the movie, and frankly, I mean, I'm sorry he's had some tough times since his acting gigs, but he had two very high profile movies in the '90s, being Star Wars and Jingle All the Way, and his performance in both as well. I don't want to say ill of anything, but yeah, the best left. He's the my least favorite part of both those movies.
I mean, in his defense, he was a kid.
Yes, he was a small child, but there are many child actors who are very good and have believable deliveries of basic lines, like "I love you, Dad." You know,
Yeah, I don't understand how he had an acting career as a child. 'Cause he was adorable, yes, but
yes, very cute kid.
being adorable doesn't. It's not the only thing that can carry you through. Not when you have multiple lines and you're a main character in the story.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
and I could agree with that, but I could also just like think like if you were Jake Lloyd and you had people telling you that to your face since episode 1 when you're like a 9-year-old boy, like
Yeah.
that's going to mess you up pretty bad. Like
and
I got to lean that way. Yeah.
And Bradley asks, "Are we sure it's not Die Hard?" Die Hard is definitely a fantastic Christmas movie, and yes, Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I'm on that. But granted, we should do an entire episode on non-traditional Christmas movies that actually are Christmas movies.
It wasn't. Which was it? Jake Lloyd that was on the Prime show. I'm blanking so hard right now. The one about superheroes for Prime, the 18 and the boys.
Oh, The Boys.
It wasn't Jake Lloyd. It was
No.
another one. It was the guy or the kid that was in The Sixth Sense, wasn't it?
Haley Joel.
Oh no,
Osment. Yeah.
Haley,
Yes.
Haley Joel. Also
Yeah, he was Mesmer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, he had a little bit of some adjustment period himself, but he's kind of bounced back and gotten back in acting. So
He wasn't horrible. Definitely wasn't the greatest.
No, but he was a lot. I liked his performance a lot better than I like Jake's. So
Yeah, for sure.
sorry, yeah, that's just me. All right, well, we only got 2 more books here that we can get onto our topic du jour here. Conan or Seth will appreciate this one here. The 4th and final issue of Conan: Battle of the Black Stone. This was an ambitious crossover because it basically had almost every single character that Robert E. Howard created teaming up. And of course, all of his characters are from different eras. You know, Conan's in the ancient world. You've got characters like El Barak, who existed in the 1920s. You've got
Erewhon and Quan from the 30s. Yeah.
Solomon Kane, who's basically a pilgrim. You know, so
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
all
The
these,
Puritan 1700s. Yeah.
yeah. So you got
You
all
have
these.
like a Thanos snap or something. How do they get all of these people into the same episode or the same
basically-
Black
book?
Stone.
Yeah,
Black stone.
basically this black stone, which is basically a basically a symbol of pure evil. It even has sigils that basically all these other heroes sort of recognize and kind of triggers them to find this thing and kill it, because it's just basically it's that big of a deal. Sort of basically bringing hell on earth, sort of thing like that. Our basically the last issue all seemed to be lost, because basically one by one we started losing our heroes in battle, and in issue 3 Conan takes a fatal hit. So everybody's like, oh damn, our number one guy is down, and there's just like a couple of us left. What are we going to do? Well, all was not entirely lost, and eventually the day is won, because but it does tease for perhaps a further expansion, or another crossover here. Old Conan fans, if you know the name Shuma Gorath, you should be.
Oh damn!
Yeah, you should be crapping your pants right now, because apparently all this Battle of the Black Stone has awoken an ancient evil. So basically, Shuma Gorath is essentially the Cthulhu of the Conan universe.
I love that Conan will never not look like Arnold. Like,
yes,
it's just not possible. You can't draw him without thinking about Arnold.
I know.
See, it's like he doesn't look like Arnold to me though in that one. Like that, I always had the different distinction. Hold on, I've got the. Hold on, where is it? Continue, George. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, but yeah, when they kind of just tease that little bit of that Shuma Gorath is coming, it's like, oh,
that's a name I haven't heard in years.
Yeah, and actually, in the MCU, they didn't do the actual Shuma Gorath, but basically a creature of his progeny, so to speak. But in the last Doctor Strange film, at the beginning of the movie, he's fighting the giant eyeball monster.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine that monster, but the size of a planet.
Nice.
And he's literally ancient. Thousands upon millions of years old. Yeah.
I'd be interested to find out how Conan's going to take care of that with an axe.
Or how normal humans are going to fight this thing, because that's the thing. It's like it's different. We're like you're fighting monsters and demons, but this is something far greater. So it's like, yeah. Oh, Brad's got a good question on here, saying that know any good Solomon Kane stories? I should get to plan to read him. They've actually done several Robert E. Howard collections of a lot of his famous characters, and they've done 2 volumes of Solomon Kane?
Only 1 volume of Solomon Kane. But but everything is in the Solomon Kane volume. Yeah. There's now here's the kick. I'm actually not gonna suggest the short stories for Solomon Kane. I'm going to suggest the graphic novel stuff. It's getting reprinted, but back when they were doing the Savage Sword of Conan magazines, they had Solomon Kane backups.
Yep.
And they adapted a lot of those stories really, really well, and some of them are even better. And I can't remember for the life of me the title of it, because it's escaping me. But it has one of my favorite Solomon Kane stories, where Solomon Kane is a religious, like he's there to eradicate evil on behalf of God, right? So he's a big Puritan guy. Well, he meets the Muslim version of himself, they fight. Yeah. And so it's great, because the whole time it's like, and of course it might be a little un-PC for both sides, but like, you've got him screaming. Yeah, you've got like the other guy screaming stuff like, it's like your Christ is wrong, and then Allah is a false god, and like they're all like, they're just clashing together.
It's a modern day time.
I would suggest those for the Solomon Kane.
And unfortunately, very little has changed in those ancient days. Seth, you are my Elric expert there. So what would you recommend for Elric?
So the Elric of Melniboné, if you want to do it quick and easy, Titan has their own run of Elric adaptations right now by Julian Blondell. Those are very faithful, very nice, beautifully drawn adaptations of the comic work. However, this is one time though that I will suggest the original Moorcock stories by Michael Moorcock, because Michael Moorcock, if you like multiverse stuff, thank Michael Moorcock, because everybody has ripped it off from him. And Elric being the Eternal Champion, or an aspect of the Eternal Champion, a bunch of the stories are interconnected with various things, but really like all you need is like the original 6 Elric novels, and there you can read them in publication order, or you can read them in in chronological order as far as the story goes, because actually the first Elric story, Stormbringer, is the last. Like that's the one. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, that's the end of the Elric story, but it goes backwards from there. I would actually suggest reading them in chronological order so that you can get a feeling for it. They're super short too, maybe like 200 pages a pop. They're pulp novel kind of deals. But yeah,
pulp novels.
yeah, and
But,
Moorcock wrote Elric as an anti-Conan. Yeah, actually specifically because Conan was like the big guy that hated magic and he was just going to punch everything to death and get and do that, right? Elric is
Conan smash.
Yeah, Elric is like this scrawny waifish guy who has to rely on sorcery to keep his strength up because like otherwise like he'd be just emaciated and useless. But he's got Stormbringer, which is his
That's
sword.
an interesting take on it because usually authors go with the route that you have to keep up your strength to supply the sorcery, not the other way around.
That's where Stormbringer comes in. Stormbringer is his sword. Stormbringer is the evil sword given to him by the archgod Ariok in exchange for Elric's soul. But Elric's an OG anti-hero too. So and so it's like he's still like the sword's trying to get him to kill everybody, and Elric's like, well, maybe we'll just kill some bad guys for a while. And the sword's got to be okay with it. I mean, the sword just screams the whole time. It doesn't really say anything. It just screams. It's wild and crazy, and it gets friggin' weird in the best way possible.
See, that's why I always love the Barbaric series that is over on Vault, because it's almost like a spoof of the Elric, because you have a barbarian by the name of Owen.
Yeah.
And he has an axe that's called Axe, and the axe is cursed. It has to drink blood to survive and gain its strength, but it constantly talks and taunts Owen and nags him and so it's a really acrimonious relationship between the two, and the only way to get Axe to shut up is by battle and slaughter.
Yeah.
So it's a hilarious series. It's just a total send up of it still has all the great barbarian and sword and sandal action you love, but it's an absolute send up of all that stuff too.
Oh, that's great. I got to check that out.
That sounds wild.
Yeah. Oh, and V noticed that these topics are bringing a smile to your face, Seth, and it's nice to see.
As soon as I saw Elric of Melniboné, it was like, okay, yeah, that's my jam because I'm one of like 40 people who's a big Elric fan on the planet right now.
I just know when I see Elric stuff in the shop, I'm like, Seth, do you have this? No, okay, it's yours now.
Yeah, Georgia has me a great set. Yeah, the other thing with Elric too is so everybody who's familiar with Roy Thomas doing the Conan adaptations for Marvel. He did Elric adaptations as well for all the 6 books, and they're very, very good adaptations of the books, mostly using a lot of Moorcock's prose. Yeah. But the art's where it kind of gets a little wishy-washy. There's no Barry Windsor Smith doing these. There's no like Gene Colan kind of deal. Like it's good, but it's not as good as it could be. That's my take with the Elric.
The art in the Titan series is much better. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The original stuff was it First or Warp Comics? It's one of those 80s indie series.
First, yeah. Warp. Okay. Warp tried to do an animated Elric film. Warp was the guys that did ElfQuest, the Pennies, Wendy and Richard Penny, or Peony, however I can't remember how you pronounce it. But
that didn't make it. It's just sad. So many good ones just went under.
Yeah.
I tell you what, ElfQuest has been getting a revival because, like, we've been getting like ElfQuest stuff in the shop recently, and people are buying it. Like, we had like a full set of like hardback ElfQuest trades. We had everything you needed for the ElfQuest RPG back in the day. We had signed original softcover first prints; those are gone. So it's like all of our ElfQuest fans are coming out of the woodwork and buying all of our stuff. So thank you guys.
Yeah, because the ElfQuest, the Final Quest, the Final Quest series ended a couple of years ago, I believe, and that was like
but there's a really, really good documentary on YouTube about the Peonies and the whole story of ElfQuest and all that kind of stuff, and it's definitely worth checking out.
That was I think it was Matt with a bunch of T's is the guy that did that one.
If you're any kind of ElfQuest fan, it's a great history on all of them. Good interviews, so definitely worth checking out. All right, the last of our comic picks here, and I got to do one for the spooky fans because I am wearing my EC Comics shirt here. Excellent. So But the revival of EC Comics from Oni Press is one of my favorite things of this year. And this is their Christmas offering, a one-shot Shiver Suspense Stories. And I love how they do the suspense stories like that.
Yeah.
We get of course, and it's very much like your Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror kind of stuff, where this is a horror anthology. We get kind of a bookend story, front and back, 4 new stories in between. And I love the stuff here because it's 18 kinds of Christmas wrong. So if you're kind of an anti-Christmas person, or you're like, you want to see Santa Claus hung by the chimney with care and not in that nice kind of way, this is the book for you. But the really cool thing about this particular offering is that they throw in a little gem from 1952, a story from Vault of Horror number 26 called Two of a Kind, where basically a young man and a young woman meet each other and fall in love. And well, I won't say any more from there, but it's a really great dichotomy of literally seeing one of the old pre-code horror stories, how they used to do it, the stories that like, this is the stuff that's going to just destroy your children and turn them into delinquents.
Start the bonfires.
And then match that to the stuff we're dealing with now. And like, folks, y'all weren't ready for this.
No.
So, but
this is where it started. This is what started all of it, was the comic books and then the video games, and children have just gone to shit.
Yeah,
we're ruined.
And the rock and roll music and the hip hop.
Oh, the rock and roll. It was always the rock and roll.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, and now we don't care about the rock and roll anymore. So now it's the hip hop.
Oh yeah, gangster rap did corrupt a lot of the youth too. Yeah, we can't.
Yes.
We can't
All
leave that out.
their Snoop Dogs and their KRS Ones and they're giving the gas faces and all that stuff. Yeah, it's just
I was
corrupting
at the gym
everybody.
today talking about how gnarly music is these days, and I think it was Little Kim that was on the playlist going, and we were just standing there listening, like, damn, this is what we listened to as kids, like, and we're complaining today. It's no reason we're all messed up.
Well, I mean, it's like Little Kim begat, like your Megan Thee Stallions and your who's the other one?
That's the OG right there. I mean, you can't do more than Little Kim did.
Well, the other day I heard.
What was it? WAP was like a #1 song though, and like Little Kim's got to be proud of that. That's basically like her baby. She didn't write it, she didn't perform it, but that's got to be her baby.
Yeah.
I have a Roomba that mops my floor, and I named it War instead of WAP. So in my phone, I'll go in the app, and I was like, all right, I'm going to send War into the kitchen and the dining room. And my grandma was like, Desiree, why do you call it War? I was like, don't worry about it, Grandma. It's a robot. That's all you need to know.
It's a wet ass Roomba. Yeah. So
yeah, exactly.
And Adrian Rodriguez, good to see you. V says, listen to NWA when he was 5. He came out fine. Yeah. V is very well adjusted. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, it was like I was listening to like some old Eminem, like back, from like 98 was the Slim Shady LP that was when it dropped, and he said some crap on there. Yeah, and it's like we let Eminem get away with saying a lot of stuff. It wouldn't have flowed today, I don't think.
Can we bring up Bradley's comment real quick, because I could not agree more.
That's what it. Oh yes. It says, in his humble opinion, modern kids got to listen to Slayer, Maiden, Buckethead, and other classic.
Yeah, and we have to throw Misfits in there. We have to throw a little bit of Dead Kennedys, because if your kid is not listening to things that are making them think and wonder, what does that mean? And then by the time they're teenagers, oh, that's what that means, then you're doing something wrong.
Right. Yeah. Music should push the kids into rebellion.
Yeah,
I mean,
I had a college professor get mad at us one time because we weren't as indignant about stuff as he thought we should be. He's like, "You're supposed to do this. You're supposed to tell me I'm telling you wrong." It's like,
yeah, I'll even accept a little Rage Against the Machine if you don't want to go even further back. I mean, at least they were somewhat subversive. Give them something. Oh, and it was 99 was a Slim Shady LP there. So
Okay,
yeah, Metal for Thought. Yeah, and see Bradley brings up a good point that I was going to bring up. Like you guys were growing up with hip hop and stuff like that. It's like I'm growing up with like hair metal and stuff like that. It's like, how am I not a sex pervert? Because I basically
because you cut your hair.
yeah.
I mean, it's like I'm listening to Kiss, I'm listening to Whitesnake. I mean, I'm listening to all the hair metals. All those guys were literally sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It was a lot more sex. So it's like, how am I not a convicted rapist or something like that?
Okay. Warren's Cherry Pie, right? That song's about 16. That song's about a 16-year-old girl. And
There's
it's like
a lot of songs about underage girls.
Right? Yeah, exactly. There's so many songs
like
about
even
you got Chuck Berry's.
You go to the countryside and Garth Brooks is singing about his 30-some-odd-year-old like farmhand seducing him when he was like 17, like, and then Strawberry Wine, like that's another gnarly one.
Yeah,
it sounds so pretty till you read the lyrics.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, man.
I mean, Chuck Berry had Sweet Little 16. Gene Simmons from Kiss had Christine 16. Literally talking about a girl he saw. Like, literally, it's like, I walked past the schoolyard, saw you, and now I'm in love with you, and you're a child. I'm like,
right, yeah.
That's a song? Yeah. Because the guys don't really.
And we just
were we talking about comic books?
We're done talking about comic books. Yeah. But yes, V did say that his Notorious B.I.G. tape was confiscated when he was in school.
They own you.
Yeah. Brad says guys like Kiss always got some interesting songs about younger. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Like I said,
I like how he put the ellipsis in there too, because it's like, bands like Kiss always got some.
Yep. Or unless you're Rob Halford, where basically you're trying to get dudes, but that's a different story.
Yeah, which I thought was hysterical that Rob Halford was like incorporating gay hanky code into Judas Priest videos, and like everybody was like, no, it's just Rob Halford, he's just a badass. It's like, nope, he's
hanky code. He's dressed like a leather slut throughout the entire 1980s.
Yeah. But no, it's like, but that was like the thing that like tipped off the gay people. It was like, oh, Rob's one of us. Was because of it was because of hanky code.
But I'd say the thing I absolutely loved though in the 90s when he came out on Headbangers Ball, and like all the metal fans are kind of like, okay.
Yeah. It's like we're used to it. We love a dude named Alice, so it's like it doesn't mean anything to us.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like Rob. We know, it's cool. It's cool, man. Yeah, you still gonna do Priest records? Cool. All right, cool.
Yeah. You still gonna sing awesome metal?
As long as it's music, we're not worried about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, our topic du jour, and so we're only 45 minutes into the show here before we get to our actual topic of the show here. But our salute to the troops, our movie marathon here. So, Seth, you said you wanted to go first here.
Yep. We're gonna give you the finest war films of all time.
Oh,
the greatest.
The absolute most awesome stuff here. I'm actually very proud of my picks here because my most recent film in my list is 1987.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
I didn't pay attention to date range on mine. I just
I picked like literally off the top of my head 3 movies, bang, bang, bang. And then I looked, I'm like, wow. So I picked old stuff. But Seth, you get to go first here, sir. So your 3 picks.
Yes. Overlord, Dog Soldiers, and The Rock.
Now, this is an interesting list.
Yeah. Overlord, number 1, because I think that it's basically it's Wolfenstein the movie, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't understand that, it's like, so it's set in World War II. It's set like I can't remember if it's set a couple of days before D-Day, which I believe it is, or if it's
I believe it is. Yeah,
because these guys are going in early, and of course they missed their landing zone and end up getting dropped into this town in Germany that they weren't expecting to. And so like there's this kind of first half of the movie where they're reconnecting with each other. They've got to just kind of stay out of the way of the Germans, but then like some weird stuff starting to go on, and they start to notice like, there's this building that everybody's kind of coming in and out of, or some people ain't coming back out of. And we kind of need to know what's going on in there. And then once they get in there, it does a switcheroo on you, and it turns into a full-born monster movie with soldiers. Yep. And I love it just because of the juxtaposition of the scenes. Like you have those classic like war movie scenes where it's like they're hiding from the German, or it's like that tense like setup kind of deal. You know,
Mhm.
you've got like, and the performances in there. Wyatt Russell, man, like him in that movie,
Yeah,
like he was badass in that flick.
no, man,
It was,
I love it.
the whole thing. It was one of those movies that if it were made in the 80s, that movie would have been one of like the top genre classic. In 10 years, it will be. It will be talked about fondly, I guarantee you. But it's one of those movies that's going to get more legs. It wasn't exactly a big hit when it came out, but the people that loved it, or saw
Yeah,
it. Loved
it is. That was unfortunate that it didn't do well. Because
Yeah.
is this an Eli Roth movie, or did he produce it or
No, no.
something?
J.J. Abrams produced it. It was
Oh,
originally thought it was going
Abrams,
to be in
yeah.
the Cloverfield universe, but it was not. It was just
Yeah.
an independent deal. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's very much like a From Dusk Till Dawn, because you get that
Yeah, yeah.
juxtaposition, kind of like, oh, it's one movie, and then all of a sudden it just goes a complete flip,
Yeah,
and
just
then
flips. Yeah, and then you got to realize that there's some weird shit going on.
amen. All right, second
Yeah.
pick here.
Second pick, Dog Soldiers. One of Neil Marshall's. I can't remember if it's his very first film or his or one of his first films.
It's if not his first and his second. It's real
Yeah,
early.
yeah. But Neil Marshall, the guy that did The Descent, and what was that? What was that weird Mad Max Lord of the Rings? Doomsday.
Doomsday.
Yeah, Doomsday. That was a very bizarre movie of his. But anyway,
Mhm.
Dog Soldiers I love because it is a bunch of British soldiers on a training exercise in the middle of Scotland when they realize that they're getting attacked by werewolves. And so it is a siege film. I love siege movies, and I love siege and Last Stand movies anyway, where a bunch of dudes have to go and defend a place, like just Alamo, that stuff. It's freaking great. The characters in it are great. You got Kevin McKidd, who is he was in Grey's Anatomy, or he's the redheaded doctor in Grey's Anatomy now, I think he's still on there.
Yeah, and he's also the guy that died of AIDS in Train Spotting.
Okay, yeah, him. I've never seen Train Spotting, oddly enough.
What?
Yeah, but it's got him. It's got who was the guy that played Alfred in Gotham? Pertwee?
Sean Pertwee.
Old guy.
Sean Pertwee, yeah. He's in it. Interestingly enough, he's also the grandson of one of the Doctor Who guys. I think it's the third Doctor, Pertwee. Yeah. But yeah, he's in it. A couple of other people that you'll recognize too that I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, each character has their own little, for 90 minutes, you get to know these characters specifically. You get to know, and that's what makes it better once like everything starts to hit the fan. And it's like, and they've got some great werewolf effects in there. I love it because the werewolves are bipedal. It is tense as hell. Like, have you seen the movie, Desiree?
I haven't.
Oh man, I highly suggest it if you get a chance to, because it is a fun ride.
Yeah, there are not many werewolf movies out there, but it is 100% my top 5.
Yeah. And what's impressive about it is a low budget movie.
Yes.
Like
it sounds better than Van Helsing.
Oh, 100, yeah, absolutely, yeah, because there's the guys are on a training exercise, right? So it's like they're back there and they've got like they don't have ammo. So then they've got like guns with like the little like the safety things on the tips and everything, and then it's like they're come to a point where it's like we have to fight werewolves with this shit,
and we have we have knives.
Yeah, it is.
That.
Yeah, I mean, I won't spoil it because it's like you definitely should watch it if you ever get the chance. I think, but yeah,
I mean, Van Helsing was okay. I like the cinematography, the way that they changed the colors, and it was all dark and gloomy and like emo. But Vigo, I love Vigo, or not Vigo. Help me, Wolverine with Hugh. Love him. He's amazing. But that movie was just god awful.
It was a lot of wasted potential.
Yeah.
Yep. They could have done a lot with that.
And then your final pick, Seth?
My final pick is The Rock, starring Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage, and directed by Michael Bay. And everybody's going to hate on Michael Bay, and I'm going to actually kind of give him a little love here. And it's like I'm going to defend his directing style. That people can't mimic that. It's very difficult. Like his eclectic shot styling is very, very unique and interesting. But The Rock does not do that. The Rock is just more of a straight up blockbuster movie. But the plot is it was a super good movie. Ed Harris, I love Ed Harris in movies. Ed Harris is one of the greatest actors ever, and I hesitate to call him the bad guy because I don't feel like he was the bad guy. It's like
he's the villain, but
he's the antagonist. He's the antagonist. Yeah, obviously, but he's got very
but maybe morally corrupt in some ways. Just
I
questionable
don't even want to
antics.
say, yeah, his methods are questionable, but his motives were pure,
Yeah.
because he didn't he did not
Yeah,
want
it's
to.
like an extremist, they just took
Yeah,
it a
yeah,
little too
yeah.
far.
He felt like he didn't have any other choice but to do what he did, which was hold a bunch of people hostage on Alcatraz.
Yeah, why
And
not?
so Nicolas Cage is and they've got these the VX gas. They've got these rockets with VX gas on it, which is like the break-in scene in the first part of that movie was one of the
That's
coolest scenes
great.
ever, especially
That's
like
a great scene.
because when they're taking the missiles and this gas is like this hard, gnarly nerve gas that melts your skin off, right? So like, they drop one of the little pellets and it breaks and they have to leave the dude in behind. And like, he's doing all like, it looks worse than the scene from RoboCop when the dude gets stuck in the toxic waste, right? Where he's all like, help me. This was so much worse than that because he's just all like melty. And,
That scene is burned into my mind. I will
Oh,
never
me
forget it.
too.
Where well, no, when they're standing there in the middle of whatever room that is, or the rooftop, whatever, and he's got the canister and he's pulling the lid, and you just see all of these fluorescent green anal beads dangling, and you're like, that's what's going to destroy everybody. That is going to melt the skin off of your bones, and you will never recover.
Yeah.
I love it.
Neon anal beads, and I just
Oh, I've seen some memes out recently. It's like, hey guys, check out all these things like this like windmill chimes or like the scented beads or whatnot. And it's literally one of those props from The Rock. I'm like, oh,
love it.
that's
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
That movie
But,
was so good.
and V loves your pick for The Rock, Seth. And
Yes.
so he also had a Michael Bay film for one of his picks. I'm curious what that would have been.
One more thing though before we start talking about The Rock, I also actually love this because I totally buy into the fan theory on this. Which have you guys heard the fan theory on this?
No,
Which
tell me.
is
That
now,
The
yeah.
Rock is a stealth James Bond movie because it's well, no, because it tracks. It all tracks because when they
It
get Sean
does.
Connery, his name is never revealed. He's just a former
Mhm.
agent,
Mhm.
and so, and it's like it all perfectly tracks to where it's like, James Bond comes back out of retirement for one more mission. And
Or basically he got put in prison after Never Say Never Again, and he just got busted out.
yeah, exactly. So it's
Either
like
way, it works.
I love that. I love that headcanon idea. So it's like,
That's cool. That's cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
and Michael Bean's in it. Michael Bean's just great in everything.
Oh yeah, I love Michael Bay. Yeah, but to me, it's like it's definitely Sean Connery's last great performance. 100%.
Yeah.
So
What has
All
he
right,
been
so-
in since then?
well, he was in Finding Forrester was his last film before he
I
retired.
do remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was his last film before he
Oh,
retired.
you're right,
And
he
that is
was, yeah.
why he retired, because it was so bad.
Yes,
That's
that's
one
right.
that we just don't talk about. That's like
Yeah.
almost like the last
John
trilogy
Connery
of
hated
Star
it.
Wars. You just leave it alone.
I mean, my whole thing is if they would have just kept it where we first meet Alan Quartermain, he's in an opium den. We are seeing him at his lowest. This great hero, this great adventurer is now basically an opium junkie. If we would have started there, it would have added so much gravitas to his character, but they didn't. They kept him as just the great badass. I'm like, no, that's one of the great things about the book. It's like you got this great hero who's just like I said, a junkie, and then you got Mina Harker from Dracula, who's like the secret badass of the whole gang because she's a friggin' vampire, you know. So
Not to get us too sidetracked further, but George, did you ever read the last League of Extraordinary Gentlemen series?
No, I've only read the first two. I've stopped there on purpose.
Well, the last one has the he's not Harry Potter, but he's as legally different from Harry Potter as possible, and it is the Lightning Child, and he can shoot magic out of his wiener.
That is one hell of a direction to take that.
Yeah, well, that's Alan Moore stories for you. You never know where they're gonna go. Yeah.
Expecto Patronus. Okay. All right. Well, Des, you want to go next? Or you want me to go next?
I don't know. I'm nervous now.
Okay. Well, then I will go next, and you will get over your nerves by the time that we get to you there. So there we go. All right. So my three picks here, I went full on exploitation, lowbrow, under 90 minutes. So that will be a very short film film marathon here. But my first pick is the 1970s classic Rolling Thunder, starring William Devane as a POW who has recently returned home with his regiment. Also included a very baby young Tommy Lee Jones. Like Tommy's just like, he looks like a little kid in this damn movie. But he's all very much sir, no sir. He's just he's right there with William Devane. Like he's ready. He's missing the war too. Like it sucks being home. But they basically got the hero's welcome when they came home. And William Devane's character, who's a major, by the way, was gifted by his local bank like $12,000 in silver dollars as kind of like a big, gesture or something like that. Welcome, thank you for your service. Sorry you got, locked up in a POW camp and were tortured, all that kind of stuff. Here's $12,000. So later that evening, Roscoe P. Coltrane himself, James Best, who is the villain in this movie, gets a band of thugs to go to Devane's house and steal the money from them. Basically, they're going to take it from them willingly or unwillingly. What ends up happening is that Devane's family, his wife and son, are murdered, and he is left for dead, and also his hand was put down a garbage disposal. So the whole rest of the movie is this great revenge-o-matic of him first learning how to use the hook hand and getting very good with it, like being able to take out cigarettes out of the pack with it and light them and kind of stuff like that, getting very delicate, whatever else. Oh, and he also shaves one part down to a blade that comes out. And then the whole basic thing ends in a big old shootout in a Mexican brothel of William Devane and Tommy Lee Jones versus the bad guys, and it's awesome and bloody.
What year was this?
1977 is when it came out.
Oh, it's got to be bad.
No,
Who directed it?
Oh, shoot. I got to look that one up here.
Oh, please say Kubrick. Please say Kubrick.
Oh,
no, it wasn't a Kubrick.
No, this is it's not that classy. This is one of Tarantino's favorites because he loves.
I was going to say, Tarantino loves this movie. He wrote about it in a Cinema Spectator.
John Flynn is the director. Yeah, okay. John Flynn. But Tommy Lee Jones, William Devane, James Best is in it. Oh, Dabney Coleman's also in it too. Yes, Dabney Coleman's also in it. So there's some great actors in there, but just an outstanding revenge-o-matic because it was just turn your brain off and let's go. Okay, Bradley's laughing about magic penis.
Yeah.
All right. My next film here, of course, I got to have a Stallone movie in here, and one of his greatest, the original First Blood, a movie that basically really tells us about the dangers of PTSD, and if you're not properly taken care of and you're kind of just left for your own devices after the war, and, well, things can go horribly, horribly wrong.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Interesting thing, though, is that, of course, this was based off a novel of the same title. In the novel, John Rambo actually dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does not make it out at the end of the book because he actually commits suicide. But he still has that conversation at the end of the movie where he's with Troutman. He's talking about this buddy that got blown up because the little kid was basically trying to do the shoe shine box and they had a bomb in there. So that whole conversation happens, and after that conversation happens, John takes his life. So so it's a dark book, and they decided to change the ending because this guy's been through enough. People was kind of he'll just get arrested and with whatever else, and of course the movie does really well. They're like, sequel.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And I hate those two sequels. All right. Okay. I hate First Blood Part 2 and Rambo 3. Yeah. Now Rambo 4 I like because it's just a crazy ass action movie with Stallone on a machine gun for 20 minutes.
No. Stallone on a 50 caliber, and first time in film history do we get to see what a 50 caliber machine gun does to the human body.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It feels like that scene was 20 minutes of just him, just going back and forth on that thing. Yeah,
it's great. So yes, I will definitely agree with you that Rambo, the fourth film, is my favorite of the sequels. The third is the one that hasn't aged well because basically it's the Taliban that were helping out to get rid of the Russians in Afghanistan, and we dedicate the end of the film to the fighting and fierce people of Afghanistan. So
Cool.
yeah. So
Fun.
yeah, before the Taliban were our enemies, we made a Rambo movie where Rambo was helping them out. So yeah. And my third and final film here, if we're going to talk about some 80s classics here, we got to go with Commando.
How do you not?
Yes.
Written by Jeff Loeb, interestingly enough.
Yes, it was. And Commando went through a lot of different rewrites. The ending of the film originally was going to be, instead of taking place in a basement, the big fight between Matrix and who was I can't remember the bad guy's name. The Australian actor, but anyway.
Oh, I don't remember.
Bennett. That's it.
Yeah.
So instead of that big scene, there was going to be a scene on an island. Like that ending was going to be much bigger initially. And then some rewrites happened in the script, and then they realized that kind of the middle of the movie needed to have a bigger body count in it. So basically, that's where we get the whole scene of basically Arnold by himself doing the one-man army of the island and just massacring everybody. That was kind of the realize, we need to put more stuff in here, and then they spent too much on the middle part, so they had to scale down the ending in the last fight. So that's why we're in a basement. But frankly, Bennett getting impaled on a steam pipe and the sign.
It sounds like they had Stephen King writing for them.
It did, yeah. It was a much bigger movie initially. There's a lot more interaction between Alyssa Milano, his daughter, and actually her getting involved in the fighting a little bit because she actually had some training. And actually, they were going to do a sequel much later on where have like Alyssa Milano grown up and like somebody tries to kidnap her, but like she's like, she's grown up now with basically her dad being special forces and he taught her some stuff. So it never happened, but I don't know. I can still dream one day that we might make a long awaited Commando sequel. V's got a comment that says Tarantino did mention Rolling Thunder so many times it's not funny. Yes, and that's what influenced me to watch it and going, oh yes, it is badass. Thank you, Quentin.
Yeah.
So
just to give it a point, I will listen to Quentin Tarantino. I will listen to Joe Rogan to listen to Quentin Tarantino talk about movies. Like he and Tarantino and Roger Avery were on Rogan the other day, and that was a really good episode.
Yeah, but I'm sure they were promoting their own podcast too. So Tarantino's podcast. So yeah. All right, Des, post time here. It is your turn. So your first pick here of your movie marathon.
Yes. So my first pick is Starship Troopers.
Nice. Excellent.
Do you want to live forever?
That movie is a dumpster fire in space, and I love it. I love it. It's fantastic. I mean, it's start to finish, like it doesn't make any sense. Why are there massive bugs? Why are we fighting said massive bugs? So why are main characters from Brazil and not the US when it's an American movie? There's so many questions that I've seen this movie at least 20 times, and I still don't have answers, and I don't think I ever will. There's so many scenes that don't make any sense, and there's the military realisticness. I don't know how to say that. It's not a very good portrayal of the military at all, but it's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's classic Verhoeven in that he loves putting in his satire. So you got all like what they call those, basically like the recruiting videos and the
recruiting videos are gold.
Yeah. Do you want to know more? Do you want to know more?
Stuff like that. It's like those were just outstanding, but it's like it's making fun of like a lot of the stuff we saw in World War II, the propaganda that was for the Allied forces, things like that. And see, the Robert Heinlein book is interesting because, there's not an American character. Like he basically kind of like, this is a worldwide crisis. So why are we just talking about American characters? So the lead character's name is Johnny Rico, and he is Brazilian, but they decided to cast a white guy.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Johnny
definitely
Rico.
lighter skinned Brazilians for sure, but like this man looks like he's from London. Like he's as white as they come. He could be Seth's brother.
Yeah, it was like, oh, okay. I mean, it's like, the blonde hair. Okay, yeah. Sure.
But that was very, because it was a 90s movie, right?
Very much
Yeah,
so,
so very, very appropriate for the time as far as, casting was concerned.
Mhm.
They didn't like anybody that was a little bit too dark, so you had to stick with
Well,
the white ones.
from
Yeah.
what I understand with that movie too, Verhoeven was also saying something a little different, and there was a very specific reason why there was a bunch of white people in there.
Ooh, why's that?
Pay attention to the uniforms. What color are they? Uh,
They're gray.
They're
uh-huh.
black.
Well, and
Or,
yeah,
yeah.
he's very much trying to invoke Third Reich imagery there. He wasn't saying that that the humans were
Oh,
good guys
I
either.
never thought about that.
Yeah,
Well,
he's especially think of the end scene when Doogie Howser comes in and like does the whole brain ripping thing.
yeah, he looks like he's
Dude's
freaking
dressed like a
SS.
Nazi. Yeah, dude's
Yeah,
SS.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Holy
Yeah.
shit, that went way over
Yeah.
my head.
yeah.
yeah.
Totally, yeah. So, yeah, Verhoeven was definitely had a lot to say about the military-industrial complex, but I
Mm.
mean, it's like the same thing. RoboCop is literally a parody for the times we were in and the corporate structures and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's like that's the one thing I always love about Verhoeven. He's the kind of guy that literally he doesn't care about peeing on the electric fence. He
No.
really doesn't. It's like he's just going to do it, and we know what the results are going to be, but you need to see this. There you go.
It was excellent, and the bugs were fantastic.
bugs were
Given the
fantastic.
time that they were created, I mean, that was as real as it got back in the day. Like those
Well,
things gave
frankly-
me nightmares.
Frankly, some of those graphics are better than some of today's.
Oh God, yes.
And I
Um,
just had to look this up to make sure too. But now think about this with Verhoeven. So like, okay, so we talk about RoboCop. Total Recall. We all know. I'm sure we all know that
Total
one.
Recall
Yep.
is. I love that one.
Yeah, that one's a great one. Now, here's one that I didn't realize that he directed. Actually, Basic Instinct was a
Mhm.
Verhoeven
Really?
movie. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Huh.
He had Basic Instinct, followed that up by Showgirls, and then we got Starship Troopers. Yeah. So
And-
Verhoeven was in an
Man of
interesting
many
little
talents.
streak, though. Yeah,
I will
Yeah.
defend Showgirls to the day I die. I got indoctrinated into that movie the hard way because I was working in a movie theater, and literally my first day, I had to watch Showgirls 4 times in a row.
Were you the
Because-
projection guy?
No, I was.
No, hold on. Let me guess. Let me take a stab at why.
Please,
Because
yes.
if I remember correctly, Showgirls came out as an NC-17. So you were having to stay in the theater to make sure no kids were in there.
You were the
Amen,
peeper
sir.
checker.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes. So basically, you were carded when you bought your tickets. You were carded when they tore your tickets. You were carded before you walked in the door to the theater. And then there was my ass because no one wanted to watch that movie 4 times in a row. So, hey, new kid, you get to watch a movie all day. Oh, cool. What am I watching? Showgirls. You get to watch it 4 times. You just sit right here and make sure no minors get in here. What? And that was my first day. So, yeah. By the end of
Also,
the
why
day,
major theater chains won't show NC-17 movies is because it's a pain in the ass to make sure that no adult or that only adults get into it.
yeah.
That is fantastic. I can't look at you the same.
The only thing that was made better is that somewhere between the second and third showing, someone had attended the theater, and they had brought a bottle of Jack Daniels with them. And apparently, I don't know if they forgot they had it or they just lost it in the darkness or what, but they didn't crack it open. So it was like just a little pint bottle. But yeah, that helped with the third and fourth showing.
That's probably why you enjoy it so much.
Yeah,
It may have been, but at least I survived the first 2. So
I was gonna say that movie for me came out. I think I was in the 8th grade when that movie came out,
Mm.
and
I don't even
yeah,
remember what year it came out.
well, once it came out on
it was
VHS,
it was 97. It was 97.
okay,
when it came out, yeah.
97. Then I was a sophomore then. I take this a couple of years
Oh,
difference,
no.
but still.
Yeah.
But still, it was one of those movies where a young teenage boy could get a hold of it before the internet, and much like Bram Stoker's Dracula, which had it was a really bizarre scene that you had to take into account for there. But we had to go with what we had, y'all. Sorry, I'm getting into Smokes and Road Beers topics on this one, so we'll stop there.
Well, I mean, it was the Sears catalog in the lingerie section, and basically whoever skin movie we could find on cable that night. So but this is what we had to do, folks. All right, on to
Late
our
night
actual
TV
topic.
with the ripples going through it.
Yeah, I basically the docu-series that HBO had for years, Just Sex. Yeah, I've seen every episode of that.
Okay,
Twice.
no. Okay. I just the movie Just One of the Guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So think of that one was one of those like kind of tame 80s movies that you could let kids watch, right? But remember how she shows that she's a woman at the end of it?
Yeah.
You know, and it was just like, yeah, adolescent boy. It's like, yes.
No, I mean, there's boobs in all kinds of movies. I was allowed to see the original Police Academy because it's a comedy and it's cops. There's boobs all over that first movie. So I'm like, this is great.
I was thinking about Police Academy the other day, right? So like Police Academy, you've got the captain that's the idiot, right? Like there's just kind of aloof, right? So then like there's that whole scene with like Steve Guttenberg and the prostitute, right, where they have to hide under the podium. And so the prostitute's like, well, I'm a prostitute, and she makes the captain,
when in Rome.
yeah, she makes the captain very happy. But then like Steve Guttenberg pops out under the curtain and gives him like a thumbs up or whatever. So like for the rest of the movie, he thinks that Steve Guttenberg is.
I forgot about that too. Yep, that is gold.
Yeah.
And how much room was under that podium, for God's sake?
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
Two people had enough room.
You had to fit two people under there.
And of course, it's like it wasn't, the greatest representation whatsoever, but we did have the running joke in the entire Police Academy series of the Blue Oyster Club.
Yeah.
Basically the leather bar, which even when they did the Moscow, the mission to Moscow, and there's a scene where they stumble into a nightclub and there's a friggin' Russian version of the Blue Oyster. I think it's even called the Blue Oyster in Russian.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. So we have I told you, we get off on tangents here, Des. So
sorry.
It's okay though. I do have to say,
sorry.
Before we switch back, because you said boobs, and that reminded me, the shower scene in Starship Troopers.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I cannot tell you how terrified I was that I was going to get to boot camp and we were going to have Starship Troopers shower scenes. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Thankfully, that was not the case. It was much more awkward than that. I won't go into details.
No go-in showers in the Marines.
Hitting the fleet, though, thankfully, I got to a point where I was allowed to sleep in a barracks room that belonged to me and one other person, and we might have had to share a shower with the people next to us. So I was able to finally shower by myself eventually.
There you go. See?
I'm glad you brought that up because it's like I never thought it's like especially in your situation that it was like, oh my God, like because it was like I'm seeing that scene and I'm like I'm thinking gym class nightmares, It's like I didn't want to shower with a bunch of dudes. Like I would have hung myself if I had to shower.
That's equality at its finest, right there. We all scrub our ass at the same time.
Yeah, but
that's just hilarious, though. I mean, at least there was some equal billing in the the movie itself because we got some boobs and then we got some dudes' butts as well. So
we did get butts.
So we got some equal billing at least a little bit there. So all right. Well, your next film, you get very serious on your next two here.
Yeah. So The Patriot, this is one of my longtime favorites.
Okay.
Maybe not historically accurate because, it's not, but the casting was excellent. And you have no issues with, child characters that never should have been there. Everybody was very true to their role. They acted phenomenally. And the storyline itself, again, maybe not historically accurate, but the time and attention to detail and, the relationship building. I mean, cinematically, it was excellent. There isn't anything about that movie that I will speak negatively about because it was just so well done.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Of course, I do love like Ledger's performance as the son. Like he's the one that he wants to get out, he wants to fight too, and Mel Gibson's trying to keep him away from it, and then not to spoil things, but it doesn't end well for Heath. So
I mean the demons that Gibson has to go through, and they finally get to the point where they start explaining those demons, and you understand where he's coming from and what he's trying to keep his son from, and then inevitably what happens. And it's like this is what he was trying to keep him from the entire time, and it makes so much sense. And like even the sappy love connections that you see throughout the film, one of them doesn't quite make sense, but at the same time you're like, yeah, I could see how that happened. And then other ones you're like, wait a minute, why is this one happening? This just needs to stop. This doesn't work. But they made it work.
Yeah, absolutely right. And yeah, you're right on the cinematography. It's really well done. I
Mhm.
honestly I haven't seen this one in a very long time. I need to revisit
Oh
this
God,
one.
go watch it,
Yeah,
please.
yeah.
Yeah, I watched it a couple of years ago again, and it was pretty good. I'm like that, like say what you will about the man's personal views outside of the acting thing. I'm a huge Mel Gibson as an actor fan. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, he's done some incredible. I love Signs. That was another
Oh,
movie.
Signs was good.
Yeah, he gave a great performance. But yeah, he like the Patriot wouldn't work if Mel Gibson was not the
No,
lead in that
no,
movie.
I can't think of anybody else that could have pulled it off the way that he did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's just, go ahead,
go
Jordan.
ahead, yeah. No,
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 yeah,
you,
go
yeah.
ahead. Well, for me, it was kind of funny because this came not quite on the heels of Braveheart, but they were really close together. So it's
Mhm.
almost kind of like he almost did the same movie twice. You know, it's like there's some differences,
Almost.
Yeah,
obviously, but it's very much a historic sort of character. Well, William Wallace actually was, but basically kind of doing a historic film, doing kind of a bit of a tragedy in there. A hero going against great odds, sort of thing like that. But yeah, he got to get visceral in a couple of movies in a row there. So
yeah.
Yeah, and you talk about the similarities between the two movies. You look at the shots that they took, and you've got, him in Braveheart where he's running down the flag, screaming and getting all these people amped to fight behind him. And then you flash over to the Patriot where he's, reliving his demons essentially, and he's full Braveheart with his with his hatchet in hand.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's an awesome scene too.
Oh,
He's got
beautifully done. With
Yeah.
the fog behind him, like the colors were perfect. Everything blended so well. It was that if I could have that printed out and throw it on my wall somewhere with all this other junk, I totally would. But I
yeah.
could never find a good enough shot.
I
Sooner or
feel
later,
you
somebody
there.
just
Yeah.
got. Yeah, there's got to be somebody who's doing just do like a print of like just a screenshot or something. Like just
Yeah.
get like a 4K image, make a print out of that, and
There
big
has
bang
to
boom.
be a still somewhere that I could buy.
Yeah, I'm sure there's got to
Yeah.
be. And V reminds us that The Patriot was nominated for in 2001 for Best Cinematography
Mhm.
Oscar.
Yep.
So yeah, well worth it too. And of course, a absolute classic to end with here: Full Metal Jacket.
Yes.
Yes,
So I picked
please.
this one for several reasons. One of them being a Marine Corps vet myself. Um, And my other choice was, Tropic Thunder because, I mean, Robert Downey Jr.,
Yes.
you just never go
Oh,
full retard, man. 'Cause he says never go full retard, but then you go over to Full Metal Jacket, and we went full retard many
He
times.
did.
And
Mm,
it's great because it's very serious. You see a pretty accurate depiction of what happens in boot camp. And then Arlie Ermy just did an outstanding job with his
mm,
role,
oh yeah.
and just seeing the amount of stress that Gomer Pyle goes through, and you see him literally coming unwound, day by day, every single scene, he's just a little more wide-eyed than he was before. He's a little more distracted and distant, and the dissociation, like the way that it grows is insane. I mean, they did such a good job making you see that and feel it and understand it and be like, shit, like this guy needs to get out of here, but he's stuck, and you truly are stuck. Like you're not going anywhere. Once you sign
no,
that dotted line and you're there, you are done.
mm,
The only way out is to get through it
yeah.
or wash
Unless
out.
you're
And
my ex-wife.
Yeah.
All right, sorry,
You,
that's a different story for another time. But yeah,
yeah.
she
Wine, you're,
didn't make it 24 hours. Let's just say that.
mm, yeah.
yeah, that first 48 where they keep you wide awake, that was rough. But,
Yeah.
I think they
She
did a
didn't make that
really
far.
good job, getting you through the whole boot camp, and then just that epic tragedy that happens at the end of the boot camp. And then, they finally make it and they're forward deployed. And while they're out there, like the things that they go through, the sniper scene, that one will always resonate with me. Like
Oh,
it
Oh
cuts
yeah.
so deep, like watching them struggle and suffer, and all they're trying to do is, get their buddies back, and they just keep dropping like flies because they can't get to this sniper. And then they zoom in on the sniper, and it's this woman. It's like, what is she doing here? And if you think about all the things that happened in Nam, like there's a reason that she's there. Unfortunately, a lot of really shitty things happen from both sides, and that woman is out
Well,
for blood.
yeah, but she even was in another part of the movie, and like it was the same woman that was in one of the earlier parts.
yeah. You do
That
see her earlier in the
Mhm.
movie.
yeah,
She doesn't really interact. She was kind of like in a bit of a background, but she's watching the soldiers.
Oh
right,
yeah.
yeah,
She's
yeah, but
just
it never
watching,
comes across
waiting,
as
biding
she's
her
a
time.
sniper.
And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if
It's
she had a backstory, I would venture to say that it's a gnarly one. Probably a really
Oh, yeah,
sad
yeah.
one.
Yeah, more than likely, because of course, I mean, a lot of soldiers in Vietnam basically took some of the ones that had mental issues took a lot of liberties with
Mhm.
villagers, or basically violently or sexually, whatever the case, or both.
Yeah,
And
the whole conflict
yeah,
was just devastating all around, but I really feel like Full Metal Jacket, the directors, they did a very good job of, showing as much as they could, how devastating and traumatic these events can be while still providing entertainment. And,
Mm.
they had people on the edge of their seats.
Oh yeah,
So
Oh,
it
yeah.
was well done.
The ending will always be powerful for me because basically when we finally get the sniper and everything's kind of done and we're kind of just past it, and then we're all just kind of walking to the next spot, and like everybody's just exhausted. We're barely hanging on, but we're walking away singing the Mickey Mouse theme club
Yep.
or Mickey Mouse
And
Mouse
that
Club theme.
is the twisted mentality of veterans of military service people. Like,
Yeah.
you basically do what you can to get through the shit that you're in. And sometimes it's singing the Mickey Mouse song because everybody knows it and somebody connects to Mickey Mouse one way or another. And, let's just sing a happy song and pretend that we don't see what's going on around us until we have to get to the next shit show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, good picks, Des. See, you had nothing to be nervous about.
Well, you guys had these whole like reviews planned out, and I was like, shit, I just want to talk about why I like them. Like,
Oh, no. None of this was planned. Like, other than just
No.
the titles of the movies. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the only one who knew what everybody's picks were because I had to make the graphics up. But no, yeah, you guys didn't know what everybody else is picking. So, yeah, no, this was literally just a let's talk about why we would have shown these movies here. But yeah, so yeah, you did great. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah,
here,
that
Des.
was
This was
fun.
awesome. See,
Yeah,
I
you got to
wanted
come
get
back.
on-
Yeah, well, you have to come back next time because you have a special comic book that you want to try and
Yes,
talk
we've
to
been trying
George
to
about.
figure out this
Oh.
comic book for years now.
Oh, really? What is this comic we want to talk about?
Or do we want to
You
do
want a
it?
sneak peek? And we can talk about it now.
Let's do it. Let's do
All
it.
right. So I have a very interesting piece that hangs on my wall right over here above the window so it doesn't hit the sunlight.
Mhm.
It is a Spider-Man 300 that has been signed by both Todd and Stan, and it is in excellent condition, beautiful condition, and it has a 0.5 signature grading on it.
So the book's graded at 0.5,
Mhm,
but it's in good condition and it's signed by Todd and Stan.
mhm.
How the hell does that happen?
Well, when I bought the book, I was at a yard sale and I found a random cardboard box, like an old file box or something, and this guy had
Yeah.
a few comics in there, and I was like, "Oh, hey, that's a good one. I'm gonna take that." I paid 50 cents for it, for a
Mhm.
Spider-Man 300,
Wow.
and I decided to not go through it because it was in good shape. I just put it in, like, this little, I don't know, portfolio thing that I had in my backpack at the time, and
Mm.
then I took it to Frankensons, which is like this giant, it's an old Sam's Club, and
Okay.
inside it's a flea market, but it's like the nerd haven of flea markets. And Stanley was doing a signing, like the next week or something. So I took it there and I waited like 15 hours in line overnight in one of the worst areas that you possibly could. Like, I had no business being a 5 foot tall woman by myself in that line, but there I was because it's Stan Lee.
Yeah.
So I got the book signed, got my picture taken, did all the things. It was great, lots of fun, sent it over with my buddy's friend who does all the gradings and stuff. And he got it signed by Todd for me and then sent it off to have it graded. Well, that was the first time that the book was actually opened since I purchased it. And while they were going through it, they found out that there was a missing page. And according to the label, it actually affects the storyline. So I took it to a comic book shop here in town and they pulled up all of the rating information for me, and they listed the page that renders it, affects the storyline. I shit you not. They took out the picture of Spidey hanging upside down and he says, "Until next time." They took out the page, the full art page, and
It was a
probably
splash
slapped it
pinup.
on their wall. It was
Yeah.
basically saying, "Stay tuned for next time, folks." That is what affects the storyline and renders this masterpiece as a 0.5.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, but it does. It's on my wall.
But no, it's like no.
According
But
to the CGC, yeah, it's
Mhm.
a dumb thing. Yeah, Des and I were talking about it at one point, and I was Googled it. That is
Yeah.
not unheard of with the CGC. Is marketed a 0.5
You
for
know,
a
I
missing
have a
page.
step stool. I can actually reach it. I'll grab it. Hold on.
yeah, I was gonna say that page doesn't affect the story in any
Yeah.
way, shape, or form.
Well, yeah, because the thing I think she was wanting to do, because she couldn't find anybody that would value it.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's like you've got like a Spider-Man 300 signed by Stan and Todd. Like it's going to be worth something, you
Yeah.
know. Even if it was the front cover that was just signed by Stan and Todd, it's going to be worth something.
Yeah, I mean, even
But
if
yeah,
there's no book inside, it's literally just the cover that's worth
yeah,
money. But it is. I mean, it's like that page does not affect the story. Having read the book, that page doesn't affect the story in any way. Crazy.
Right there. Stan and Todd.
I
0.5.
mean,
yeah.
it's just
I've
And
got a
it's even
glare.
got
I'm
the
trying
yellow
to.
signature series label. Yeah,
Nope.
yeah.
Look at this. Tell me how this is
I mean, it's
worthy of a 0.5.
I mean, missing one. That's the thing. If it was one thing, like okay, you know, the page where Venom first is revealed, and he's Eddie or Venom's wearing Eddie
right.
Brock. That first
Mhm.
splash page there. Okay, that one, sure.
Absolutely.
Or the splash page where Venom has got Mary Jane. Okay, that one, sure. But the end of the book where Spidey's in his normal suit and the show is over and says
And he says,
bye.
until next time. That happens in every book.
Yeah.
Go
So,
home, CGC. You're drunk.
yep. This was
Wow.
11, 16, 14. So for 10 years, I have been in pain over this. And for 10 years, I have never been able to get a real value on it. I've had people offer me like $100 for it because it's a 0.5. And I'm like, you can go, F yourself
Kick rocks.
because
Yeah.
there's no way. There's no
No.
way.
Yeah, these things, CGC doing CG things. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm thoroughly disgusted by that. I really am. That book is not. Yeah. Okay. See, this is why I don't do graded
It's
books.
unique,
Folks.
if nothing else.
Oh, it's very unique in that
Yeah.
fact. So that's kind of where it's almost kind of like getting like the angry girlfriend variant, which is basically there's a Spider-Man was a number 11. There's a Spider-Man 11 that was graded. Literally, basically, guy was collecting comics, having rough times with a girlfriend. His girlfriend basically wrote a hate letter on his Spider-Man 11. Like she on the front and the back cover, like you suck, I hate you, I hate all your comics, I'm leaving you, blah, 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 blah. Well, the dude got that graded. And so it has now been passed around the world as the angry girlfriend variant. And so I think it's also either graded at a 1 or a 0.5. But yeah, I mean you could see this online. Look it up, folks. But yeah, it's one of those variants that is passed around from collector to collector because it is a unique item, to say the least.
It just makes me so sad.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? I mean, I'm not going to sell it ever. Like, this is going to the grave with me. Not even sure I trust my children with it. Probably pawn it for a 6-pack when they're in college or something stupid.
Yeah. And see, I completely get their guidelines and would agree that a proper missing page, but like a splash page at the end is, yeah.
I've seen though where the CGC has graded books with missing pages favorably, but it's like they put the little caveat like does not affect story in the grading notes. Like,
yes,
it's not always a 0.5, but it's like, but if they deem it as affecting the story, it does. But like, yeah, that being a stupid splash page pinup.
Yeah. It sounds like you got a grader on a bad day is what you got.
Yep.
Yep. So, but yeah, again the trials and tribulations of grading, folks. That's why my collection's raw.
Oh man, that
I've
even
considered sending it back for a regrading, but like, Stan's gone. Like that's dangerous.
Okay, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, George, but if you sent it back for a regrade, you would lose the signature series off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
because there's no way to verify anymore.
Right. Yeah. Even though they already verified
even though they've slapped it, they've verified it themselves.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Online, you can verify signatures. That's the thing. There's, as far as Stan Lee's signatures go, there's 2 eras of Stan's signature. before he turned 75 and after he turned 75, because beforehand his signature used to be a lot longer. It almost kind of like came up maybe like this. It was a lot more, a lot more easily legible.
Yeah.
And then he got older and started. Yeah,
Right.
and see that one's a lot. That one's a lot more condensed. That's a lot more of a recent signature towards the end of his life. Where he was going to a lot of cons. He was signing a lot of stuff. So
That man was old.
Yeah, he died in his 90s. Yeah, but it's the thing is like a Stanley signature is worth the same as an old one or new, doesn't matter. But there are some fans who prefer the older signature than the newer one. So, but it's entirely a nostalgia thing. That's like getting in the weeds of like, oh, well, I only want a newsstand variant, or I only want a British price variant of my comic book. I'm like,
right.
Yeah, you're getting in the weeds. So, yeah, if he says it's definitely a crapshoot.
Yeah.
It's a crapshoot on a bad day.
Yeah, no kidding here. Bradley Smith says Tim Allen grunt energy. All right. Well, I have taken up far enough of your all's time here, but yeah, a great show tonight. A lot of fun. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Des. It was an absolute pleasure.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, that was so much fun, Des. Thank you. Yeah, you'll have to come back, and we'll have to do something else sometime. But
yeah, definitely. There were a lot of books and series that we went over today that I'm not super familiar with because I've had to like pry myself away from comics just so that I can, life. But I love hearing about them, and when I have an opinion, I have an opinion. So,
and I've heard, like you've talked on Smokes and Road Beers before. You guys talking about comics and talking about Marvel movies and stuff like that. And I really like your insights and your point of views on things, and you have a wisdom beyond your years as well. So yeah, I appreciate all that. So that's really the primary reason why I wanted you on the show, because I'm like, okay, she's got good things to say. Let's get her on here. So
I mean, the F-bomb blockers, like that makes it a little bit hard for me because every other word I'm like, stop.
I know that's hard for me too. You heard me on Smokes and Road Beers. Yeah, that's the thing I have to curb with myself.
V bringing it back. Bringing it back around. Until next time. Well done, sir. Well played. Oh. All right. Well, that is us for the Fanatic Forum for this week here. Again, thank you very much for Des being on here. She's frequently on the Smokes and Road Beers podcast that is purveyed by my brother from another mother over here. 6:30 Eastern. On Facebook and Rumble. So definitely be there or be square. But aside from that, you all have yourselves a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next time on the Fanatic Forum. Bye-bye.
The Multiverse Fundraiser is partnering with Comic Books for Kids to raise money for their cause. Their mission is to provide comic books to children in hospitals and cancer centers across the United States, Canada, and the UK. We believe in the importance of providing stories that promote hope and bravery to kids who are facing things that are scarier than any supervillain. And we truly believe in this cause. To donate, you can either go to our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/The Multiverse Fundraiser or directly to comicbooksforkids.org.